I don't really know about other houses of worship, but whenever we sing about Yeshua returning, it seems like people get real excited here, which is an indication of two things. It's an indication on the spiritual side that, you really want him to take his rightful throne, but I think there's another side that you're kind of tired, aren't you? Yeah, it's okay to admit it. That's what this place is. This place isn't for the happy, pretty people that have it all together. No, this is a place to prepare you to have the right garment on so that when you go into that wedding feast, you don't get asked to leave. It's a preparation for the bride. It's really what it is. It's not a seeker-friendly, and I have nothing against seeker-friendly. I'm just saying that that's not this place. This is not this place, It's not just feel good and how, you can be blessed. It's how you can prepare to bless the coming king. And there's for centuries, actually, nobody cared about the king coming back. And it's sad. It's called dry-eyed Christianity. They didn't really care because things were pretty good in the 50s and 60s and 70s, right? Any job you had, you could pay your bills, and things were pretty good. But then when things kind of went the other direction, all of a sudden we started crying for Yeshua to come. And that's okay. But it's the right thing to do. If you don't want him to come back, something's radically wrong. Because when the Spirit and the bride yell, "Come, Yeshua," Yeshua says, "Amen." And for centuries, I could see Yeshua saying to his Father, "How come nobody wants me back?" But now we do, right? Just to let you know, there are 4 spots for the Israel trip. Once those are gone, the trip is gone. They don't have to be filled. We're still going. But I'm just saying there's 4 spots left. And yes, I have succumbed to Twitter. The Lord told me to tweet. I was whistling. I didn't know what he was talking about. But you see, I spend a lot of time with the Lord, and sometimes when I come out of that time, I want to share something with you. But there's no way to do it for me. I can't call each and every one of you. There's thousands of people that watch. But I didn't want to make it a sermon. I know that's what people wanted, but I don't have time for that. I just don't have time with all my responsibilities to give you a sermon every day. But when I come out of it, so the Lord told me to do this, and Bernadette said, "You're a perfect candidate for it because you can only do like..." I'm sorry?
Because you have so much to say.
Good. Sometimes I wake up, like this morning I woke up with something on my lips to share. So it's just going to be, I'll try to do it every day. I can't guarantee it because it's not up to me, it's up to him. I don't want to feel that pressure, but I have a feeling he'll give me something every day. And I'll just send it out there, I'll just send it out there. So it doesn't take me, but a couple of minutes to write it out. It's only 140 characters, I think. I still don't know what I'm doing, so if I send something that's like bizarre, I don't know what I'm doing, but hopefully we'll figure it out. If anybody really knows how to do that stuff, come see me and talk to me because I can use a little help. Okay, that takes care of those 2 things. Let's hit the scriptures. What do you say? All right. Let's go to the first one. Proverbs 10:19, it says, "When words are many, sin is not lacking, so he who controls his tongue is wise." Proverbs is a tremendous, tremendous book. It's really laws from heaven for life on earth. That's really what it's about. It is. I know it's so proverbial and so wise, but it's chock full. It's just there's not one you can't read that can't help you out in your life, and wisdom is crucial. It's wisdom is spoken about all over the scriptures, and we desperately need it, right? Yeah, because it seems like we keep making the same mistakes over and over again. Yeah, and so knowledge, sometimes we get knowledge. Like somebody say, "Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand the concept?" And you say, "Yes, I understand." Now that understanding turns into knowledge. But if you don't apply that knowledge in your life, there's no wisdom. You can know everything, but if you don't apply it, it's almost futile. It's an exercise in futility. So it says, "When words are many, sin is not lacking. Compulsive talkers beware." Anybody know any compulsive talkers? See, I do talk here because that's my job. It's my job, and you might say, "Look who's talking." That's what I have to do. I have to do that if I don't. But in my private time, I spend a ton of time listening to God. I can sit for hours and hours. It's really weird. Typically, Sunday morning is my time where I'll start at like 5 in the morning. And then I'm telling you, I'm not saying this to boast, it's crazy. All of a sudden I'll look up and it's 12 o'clock. And I just spent 7 hours just looking at the Word and meditating, and it just goes by like that for me. It just goes by like that. So, compulsive talkers beware, because let me tell you what happens. When you talk a lot, it will lead to exaggeration. And exaggeration is just a bold-faced lie. It will also lead to something worse, breaking of confidences. You know, when somebody tells you something and they're telling you as a confidant, nobody tells anybody anything anymore because nobody trusts nobody. They just don't tell anybody. They don't want to talk. Because you know when you tell somebody, you go, now don't tell anybody else, and you run and tell somebody, you go, now they told me not to tell anybody else, so don't you tell. And they tell, and then it gets back to them, and they come to you and they go, I told you in confidence, and you go, that meanie, I told her not to say anything. Like, what's wrong with this picture? So be careful because it could break confidences. Proverbs 13:3, he who guards his tongue preserves his life, but he who talks too much comes to ruin. Be careful what you say, it can be used against you. You got to arrest your tongue and read its Miranda warnings. You got to put it under arrest. And you got to say, you have the right to remain silent, because anything you say can and will be used against you. Now, the good news is, if you can't afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. He's called Yeshua HaMashiach. He's your advocate. An advocate, it says in 1 John 2, an advocate is a defense attorney. So you will be prosecuted. You will be prosecuted. And won't be prosecuted by the enemy. It will be prosecuted by your brothers and sisters in the church. I have never in my entire believing life been prosecuted by the world. In fact, my worldly friends back in New York, they like, hey, dude, all I know is, man, you really believe this. I got to give it to you. That's what they say. It's only the body of believers that will just... They live under this principle that if you cut somebody's legs out from under them, it makes them taller. It doesn't. It just hurts the person you're cutting the legs out from under. It's crazy, man. Just plead the fifth. You know? Everybody likes the Constitution, right? Use it. Just plead the fifth. Proverbs 17:28, this is one of my favorites. Even a fool, if he stays silent, is thought wise. He who keeps his mouth shut can pass for smart. The great James Sinclair, the great writer out of Canada, look what he said. Quote, it is better to keep your mouth shut and let people wonder if you're a fool than to open it and remove all doubt. What I like to say is keep them guessing, man. Don't give yourself away so quick. Give you 3 more Proverbs, just run them together. Proverbs 12:18, 15:4, and 21:23 respectively. Idle talk can pierce like a sword, but the tongue of the wise can heal. A soothing tongue is a tree of life, but when it twists things, it breaks the spirit. Whoever guards his tongue keeps himself out of trouble. Look at this word, tongue. It's a noun. Of course, it's in the Hebrew because the Old Testament was written in Hebrew. Lishan. It's just an organ of speech. It's just a noun. There's nothing active about it. Okay? That's all it means. But there is a root word. There's certain root words to the Hebrew words that gives you a deeper meaning. It digs deeper. That's why it's called the root word. The root of tongue, look at it for a minute, is lishan, and it means to use the tongue. Now it's a verb. But sadly enough, it's always used in a derogatory way. Always in the scriptures. Isn't that scary? It means to slander. Wow. Look at Psalm 101:5 for me for a minute. If someone slanders another in secret, I will cut him off. Now, let me just tell you that this is King David writing this psalm. And when he's saying, I will cut him off, if you read it in context, he's not saying, I'll kill him. What he's saying is, which is something even deeper to me, King David is not saying, I'll put him to death. He's saying that he will be excluded from my administration, which means he will not be involved in the management of the king's affairs. So if King David said this about people that slander others behind your back, what do you think King Yeshua would say? See, he has a business. God has a business. He's involved in the salvation business, the restoration business. He's involved in the healing business and the delivering business. And he privileges you by allowing you to be involved in his business. It's a privilege. When you have a business and somebody comes along and teaches you the business and hands it over to you, you should kiss their feet. They built it up. Surefire way to have your business run into the ground, just give it to your kids. Anyway, my point is, this king, Yeshua, has a business. And if you do slandering, he's not going to let you administrate his business. You might say, why can't I be involved? Why can't? It just don't work like that. Look at what the word slander means in the Hebrew. It's debar, and it means defamation. Defamation from the word defame, or to spread an evil report. Do we know any people that spread an evil report in the Old Testament? Who? The 10 spies. Their names? Huh. You don't know one of their names? What about the other two? Do you know their names? Huh, they spread a good report. Amazing how we remember them. Defamation of character is horrific. It's to purposely and consciously attack another person's reputation, to just destroy the person.